Good afternoon, Steve. My name is Stephen Herwire. I am the owner of Herwire Financial Plans with Direction. Today is November 4th of 2022. I am wrapping up my three-part series on the road to the poorhouse, mistakes to avoid part 3, or as I like to call it, how I turned $1 million portfolio into 50 bucks in cash. Few important disclosures. The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested in directly. All data is believed to be from reliable sources. However, no representation is made as to its completeness or accuracy. And none of this is to be construed as tax or legal advice because I'm neither an accountant nor an attorney. Consult your advisor prior to taking any action. More disclosures. This material contains only general descriptions, not a solicitation to sell any insurance product or security, nor is it intended as any tax or legal, financial or legal advice. For information about specific insurance needs or situations, contact your insurance agent. This article is intended to assist in educating you about insurance generally and not to provide personal service. They may not take into account your personal characteristics such as budgets, assets, risk tolerance, personal family situation, or activities which may affect the type of insurance that would be right for you. In addition, state insurance laws and insurance underwriting rules may affect available coverage and its costs. Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing company. If you need more information or would like personal advice, you should consult an insurance professional. You may also visit your state's insurance department for more information. Riders are additional guarantee options that are available to an annuity or life insurance contract holder. While some riders are part of an existing contract, many others carry additional fees, charges, and restrictions, and the policyholder should review their contract carefully before purchasing. Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company. Now, October was a decent month. We ended up September around 29,000 on the Dow, and we were well over 30. By the time October closed. So that being said, Dow Jones Industrial Average last night closed at 32,001.25. But still for the year to date, it is down 11.94%. The S&P 500 closed at 3716. Year to date, it's down almost 22%. The NASDAQ 100 closed at 10,690.6. Year to date, it's down almost 34.5%. Gold closed at $1,626.01. Year to date, it's down 11.1%. Bitcoin index closed at 20,246.27. Year to date, it is down 57.73%. US dollar index is closed last night at 112.99. Year to date, it is up over 18%. 10-year Treasury last night closed at 4.15%. Year to date, it's up 2.64% from its year start at 1.51%. The S&P aggregate bond index closed at 189.11, down 14 almost 3/4%. Okay, one of the things you can do that can help you make leaps and bounds on your way to the poorhouse is to not have enough insurance. Insurance is important. Now, for the record, I am not an insurance licensed or a licensed property and casualty agent. I do life insurance and health insurance, but I do not do homeowners and auto insurance. But I know enough to recognize when there might be problems. For example, the insurance minimums are very low. So if you elect to get the absolute minimum coverage, you could be setting yourself up for a few mile markers on the road to the poorhouse. So I'm quoting from dmv.ny.gov/insurance requirements. New York law requires that you have auto liability insurance coverage. Now, what liability insurance is, you get in an accident and damage somebody else's stuff or hurt, or worse yet, kill them, you are liable. This insurance helps pay for those things. Now, in the state of New York, per the website, minimum amount of liability coverage is $10,000 for property damage for a single accident. Now, unless you've got a really old beater like I do, $10,000 is probably not going to cover a serious accident, just to cover the cost of the car. Now, never mind if it's a brand new car, especially if it's a Tesla or one of those really high-end cars. So for bodily injury, the minimum is $25,000 for bodily injury, $50,000 for death for any person involved in the accident. However, if there's more than one person, $50,000 for bodily injury and $100,000 for death for two or more people in an accident. Now, what that means is if you have a bad accident, you could be on the hook for a lot. Or if your teenage kid is driving and gets in an accident, it could get really expensive really quickly. And for the most part, your homeowner's insurance won't cover this. So something you might consider, in addition to homeowner's insurance and auto insurance, is umbrella insurance. A few things you need to know about umbrella insurance. It's not really expensive, but generally speaking, you have to have homeowner's insurance and auto insurance with the same company. And matter of fact, it's a benefit to have your homeowners and auto insurance covered by the same folks, because usually they offer you a discount. You've seen the commercials on TV where they talk about bundling. This is exactly what they're talking about. Your property and casualty agent can help with this. Okay, using the wrong attorney. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I can frequently recognize when a bad choice is being made. So, for instance, I had a client years ago, because most attorneys, they can do wills, they can do real estate closings, and they can do trademark registration. Okay, but I had a client many years ago that she had a friend who was an attorney that did her a favor and did the closing for her. Now, the problem was, even though technically her friend could do the closing, that person was not very proficient because they missed something important. I'm not going to get into the details, but 18 months later, my friend and client got what's called an escrow shortfall letter. Now, for those who don't own a house yet, what escrow is, when you buy a house, you have to pay property taxes, you have to pay homeowner's insurance, and sometimes the bank that is holding your mortgage says, you know, we don't, not that we don't trust you, but we'd rather just have you send us a little bit of money every month. We'll put it in an interest-bearing account, and we'll use that money to pay for your homeowner's insurance and your taxes. Okay, well, this attorney missed that because he wasn't proficient at it. Not that he or she was a bad person, it's just they didn't do it all the time. Another instance, I had a client who got a trademark done by a client or by an attorney that was not proficient in it. Came back to haunt them because they got a cease and desist letter a few years later after they established their brand, and they had to go take it all down. Now, had that person engaged an intellectual property attorney, that situation might have been avoided. And as far as wills, powers of attorney, and healthcare proxies, or whatever the equivalent is in your state, I suggest you consult an estate planning attorney or an elder care attorney. They will know this stuff. But the key thing is, no matter what your legal need is, make sure you interview them and say, hey, how often do you do this? If they say, well, we do this every so often, then I kind of lean against hiring them for that. But if they say, no, this is this thing we do day in and day out. So it may be a little bit more expensive in the short term, but it's usually beneficial in the long term, as at least 2 of my clients can attest. Okay, spending more than you earn. This is something they should teach, but they don't. Anyone who consistently spends more than they make on a regular basis is headed for trouble. Okay, it's a math thing. Now, there's times where you got to spend more than you make for limited periods of time, but it is not sustainable in the long term. In addition, to the fact that you're racking up a lot of debt, which is basically just you're spending your paycheck, years and months before you even get it. You're going to have probable interest charges, and there's other deleterious effects. Like one, it could lead to a bad credit score, even if you're on time all the time. Maybe, maybe not. But if you've got a bad credit score, there's areas where they will charge you more. It could cost you employment opportunities. Like, well, with the charging more, your auto and homeowners insurance might get more expensive. And in some cases, when you're interviewing for a job, they'll do a credit score. And if you've got a bad credit score, you might not get the job. The last deleterious effect that I can think of that's major is it can prevent you from saving for your long-term goals like retirement. If you're not saving for retirement now, it's a mistake. Okay. You need to be saving for that one day where you are not going into work, but you still want money coming in. And unless you happen to hook up with a company or an outfit that pays lifetime pensions, which are very rare these days, then this is the only way to get there. Otherwise, you're going to end up, and guess what? The poorhouse. What I can do to help. Okay, as quickly as the market falling can harm your financial future, things that can cause greater harm can sometimes happen more quickly. Like a family member getting into an accident and being sued without enough coverage. That can happen instantly. In other cases, it's more subtle, like using the wrong attorney, where you get that escrow shortfall letter or that cease and desist letter, just to cite a few examples, or racking up lots of debt, where the damage is not obvious right away. Many of these things can be avoided with a plan. Now, whereas I am neither a property and casualty agent or an attorney, I do recognize potential train wrecks in your future. The biggest value I bring to the table is helping you avoid expensive mistakes. It's not beating the market on a regular basis. I won't do that. Nobody does. I will simply make you aware of things that could cause harm to your financial advice that aren't even on your radar. Okay, you go through a few different stages after you graduate. Once you graduate, be it from welding school or engineering school, you're going to need a different plan for each of these stages that are tailored to your individual situation. It is not cookie cutter. During your working years, the 2 questions you need to not only be asking, but have the answer to. Am I saving enough to retire in a manner and fashion of my choosing? And is it in the right place? When you're on that glide path to retirement, the last 5 to 10 years before you punch that clock for the last time, you need to be asking, how do I avoid running out of money before I run out of life? And legacy. Does what I worked hard for get to where I want it to after I'm done with my retirement? How to reach me? Go to herwirefinancial.com. You'll see right up here a schedule an appointment button. It is in the upper right-hand corner of every single page of my website. Click on that. You can get me in person. You can get a Zoom appointment. You can get a phone appointment. And keep in mind, I am registered in several states, And even if I'm not registered in your state, we can talk. And if it makes sense, I can easily get registered and licensed in your state. If you want to see more videos like this, click on the YouTube button. It's that red button in between the Facebook and LinkedIn buttons, and like and subscribe to it. If your friends want more information, they can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Now, some folks, they don't do the internet or don't like to. So they can call me. My phone number is 518-631-2569. That's 518-631-2569. Quick public service announcement before I sign off. Next Tuesday's election day. If you are eligible, please vote. It's important. Thank you and have a great weekend.